Okay, in this video, we're still going to be working with monomial factors of polynomials. So this is part 2. Okay, I'm going to give you a polynomial, 3x squared plus 12x, okay? And I'm going to ask you to factor it. Okay, so we have to factor this polynomial. So in order for us to factor it, we have to find the greatest monomial factor. Okay, so let's look at this term, and then let's look at this term, or this monomial, and then look at this monomial, and let's find the greatest monomial factor. Okay, so by doing that, what we can do is we can look at the coefficients. Okay, so we have 3 and 12. What is its greatest common factor? Okay, what's the greatest common factor of 3 and 12? Well, it's 3, okay? And then, so we're done with that. And then we can move on to the x's, okay, because they have the same base. Okay, so what we want to do in this case is we take the smallest exponent in this case. Okay, so in this case, this is x squared, so that's a 2, and then just x, and there's like a little invisible 1 here. So we take the least, or the smallest exponent, which is the 1. So we're going to take that, and so that means that the greatest monomial factor, or I'm sorry, the greatest factor between these two would be x, and so we just, so basically we found the greatest monomial factor, that's 3x, but we still have to factor this guy, okay? So what we're gonna do now is we're going to almost do like reverse distributive property, okay? So we're gonna put this guy, this 3x, over here, okay? And we have to fill in the parentheses. Now, just in case you forgot, this was our polynomial, 3x squared plus 12x. Okay, now we have to think 3x times what will give us 3x squared? Okay, well, it's x to the first power, right? Because look, 3, if we distributed this, it would be 3x times x would give us 3x squared. Okay, now 3x times what will give us 12? I'm sorry, 12x. Our original problem was 12x. My apologies. Okay, so 3x times what will give us 12x? Okay, well, it is 4. You can double check. 3x times 4 equals 12x. Okay, so we have just factored this polynomial. Okay, let's move on to another one. This one might be a little bit more challenging. Okay, so this is the polynomial that we want to factor. 6x to the 5th minus 4x to the 3rd plus 8x. Okay, go ahead and write that down so we can go back to it later. Okay, so remember the first thing we have to do is we want to find the greatest monomial factor of this, okay? So let's look at the coefficients. We've got 6, got 4, and we've got 8. Okay, so what is the the greatest common factor of those 3 numbers? Well, it's 2. Okay, and then let's move on. Now we have our x's. Okay, now remember, like I said in previously, we want to keep the x, but we want to take the smallest or the least, the smallest exponent. So we have a 5, a 3, and a 1. So we're going to take the 1. But remember, we don't really need to write that 1 in. Okay, so that's the greatest, 2x is the greatest monomial factor. So remember, we're going to do like reverse distributive property here. Okay, so we're going to put that 2x right over here. Okay, and just as a reminder, let me write down our polynomial that we're factoring, which is 6x to the 5th minus 4x to the 3rd plus 8x. Okay, so Now we're going to work with this term. 2x times what will give us 6x to the 5th. Okay, so 3. 3x to the, it would be the 4th, that's right. Okay, and then 2x times what will give us negative 4x to the 3rd, so that would be a negative 2 x to the 2nd, okay? And then 2x times what will give us 8x? Okay, it would be positive 4, remember, so positive 4, so we got to add that plus sign in there. Okay, so we just factored this polynomial.